All right, Brent Porcio, TopVelocity.net. We're going to go over in this instructional video the difference between a weighted med ball and a weighted baseball. This is obviously not a weighted baseball, but if this was a weighted baseball, the difference between the two, specifically in the top velocity method. So the reason we use a weighted med ball, and 2 pounds we've found to be the best. If you go over 2 pounds, you're using the overload principle like with both. The overload principle is just overloading the work on the movement, meaning forcing you to work harder. And typically when you do that, whatever technical issues you're having become a bigger problem, right? Like if you're in a weight room and you're trying to squat 200 pounds, if you're used to squatting 100 pounds, you know, your stability and technique is going to be all over the place. So that's why 2 pounds is perfect, because when you do 4 pounds and up, your techniques get so bad it's hard to really improve them. So the 2 pound I found to be the best. Also very important too is the size of the ball. This is about the size of volleyball. If we have something bigger, it's going to affect, or even smaller, like those little like a baseball size, it's going to affect the arm path, which is key to this, because we are, with these drills, because we're moving, say if we do our pitch simulation throws, we're actually moving through our delivery with a 2-pounded ball with 2 hands. It's very important that we are still emulating the arm path, and this size is perfect to do that. A bigger ball, the elbows want to drop more, even both, bigger ball and smaller balls. This just helps us get in a perfect position with the throws. So the reason we're using the overload principle with the med ball as opposed to the baseball is because we do them with 2 hands. I never would advise you to do this with 1 hand. This is a 2-handed throw. It can be very hard to throw a baseball with 2 hands, right? So this is a 2-handed throw. And the reason that's important is because when you have both hands on it, now the arms work with the trunk to deliver the energy. When you have 1 hand on it, the arm can more easily disengage or disconnect and work against the trunk or separate from the trunk. We don't want that. We want all of the body working together as a single unit to deliver the energy. Kibler and Chandler calculated in a study that a 20% decrease in the kinetic energy that comes up your body, a 20% decrease in the energy that's coming through the hip and trunk that is going to the arm, if you lose 20% of that, you're going to have to increase 34% of the rotational velocity of the shoulder just to keep the same force to the hand. So what that's saying is we have to use the kinetic chain. The kinetic chain and using the kinetic energy and delivering that up is almost worth twice of what you're going to create out of your arm by pulling your arm forward or forcing internal rotation. So the purpose is to train the kinetic chain, and amateur pitchers and throwers have a hard time with that. So when you in a 2-handed throw and the arm's engaged with your body and working with your body, you then are better using the kinetic chain, and that's really the foundation of the top velocity methods. When you go to, say, the weighted baseball, like I said, it's not something that you're going to be wanting to use 2 hands. Now you're in a position to where if you're an early trunk rotator now and your arm's behind your back, now you have even more of a load on your arm in that position, meaning, remember, when you put a load on, technique gets worse. So if you were early trunk rotating, now you're really early trunk rotating. Or if you're pushing your arm, now you're really pushing your arm, delaying pronation. Most of the what's called pathomechanics, mechanics that lead to injury, come when the arm is disengaged, when it's dragging, pushing, and overworking, just like I was talking about with the study. So that's why we don't like an overload method in just one segment of the body. We don't want to just overload the one segment, which baseball unfortunately doesn't understand, that this is not really how elite pitchers throw or elite throwers throw. They don't throw with the one segment, they throw with the entire segment. So if you want to entrain the entire segment, you need to be working in 2-handed throws with the overload principle, learning to implement the elite mechanics that studies show correlates to better performance and reduced injury. All those mechanics we map out in the 2X and 3X programs for pitchers and position players. If you want to learn more about that, TopVelocity.net /100 miles per hour will give you a free course for pitchers, or TopVelocity.net /prospect give you a free course for position players. And I'm not going to teach in those the med ball throws, because you need to learn a lot of the basics up to that. But if you go into our programs, if you get into the TopVelocity programs, you're going to get all of our drills. We have tons of drills using the med balls, teaching the overload principles for you to better use the kinetic chain by implementing the core principles from the 3X mechanics to be an elite thrower, an elite pitcher. And on top of that, we have a whole strength and conditioning approach, mobility approach that supports it. Because you're not going to be able to use your kinetic chain until you develop strength and integrity through the system. And then as you do these drills, you're going to better implement the kinetic chain. And you're going to see your arm stress goes down while you have the potential to increase your ball speed. And like I said, it's our method. And unfortunately, the methods that are overloaded in one segment or in the arm, as opposed to overloaded in the kinetic chain like we do, we're very different and kind of butt heads, right? Because they're two opposite approaches. But if you want to learn the 2-pound med ball approach to using the kinetic chain, check out all the TopVelocity programs.